I have an ache in my sciatica because I'm 85 years old. Hi, hey, welcome to my YouTube channel. I'm Ariane, I'm a French illustrator, and today I wanted to do something that I never do on this YouTube channel, which is to tell you how to do something. Just kidding. I just wanted to show you my process of painting / drawing a self-portrait. Some people have asked. I have been drawing self-portraits for over a year now, every day mostly. Sometimes I skip, but I do have a collection of self-portrait sketchbooks that you can go watch sketchbook tours of. I'll link them, I'll try. And I recently started a new self-portrait sketchbook, this one, and today I wanted to take you along, and I did something that I never do, which is script a video in a notebook. So today what I will be going through as I do my self-portrait is tell you how I do it. And I have written a tiny little script that goes along like this. I'm gonna tell you why I draw my own face. I'm gonna do it right now. And then I'm gonna tell you what I do before I draw my own face to prepare myself. And then just go along my usual. I usually do the same thing at the same time. I try not to do the same thing every day, but usually I have a tiny bit of a routine that can be flexible, but I have my habits. I do have my habits, and then I'm gonna tell you also what it's taught me to draw my self-portrait, why I love drawing self-portraits, and yeah, then I'll be done. Why do I draw my own face and why I think you should too? First of all, for anyone who wants to grow as an artist, practice is the key, and drawing your own face is really the most accessible thing you can do. You only need you, and you are always readily accessible, so that's really cool. The second thing is body image. I have found that drawing my own face is really the best way to stop hating my own face, if that makes any sense. I'll go back on that when I talk about what drawing my own face has taught me. And I do think that I have heard this thing somewhere before, and I cannot for the life of me remember where. I think it was in a podcast, but anyway, drawing your own face, very good for body image. And then the last point is I just love drawing portraits. I always have, I think I always will. And as far as I can remember, when I was in 6th grade is the time that I started to really get serious about drawing, and I knew that I wanted it to be my profession. And I started, practicing with a purpose. And my purpose was to be able to draw faces, because I just loved drawing faces. And I remember in my school books and on school paper, I would always try to draw my own face. And I wish I could find the self-portraits, the oldest self-portraits that I have made, but I know that they are now sadly in the bin. So yeah, that's my little intro. I will take you along now as I draw today's self-portrait, which is this one. Spoiler! This one. I think it turned out quite cute, and I have messed it up while I was drawing it, because as usual when I'm filming there's so much pressure and then I mess it up. But I'll try to keep it in real time and do a voiceover, and yeah, let's go do a voiceover, I guess. If you want to support me, you can go check out my Patreon at Ariane Illustration. You can become a member for free and just, keep in touch with me. And then you can become a paying member. And I will announce quite shortly that I will be having, for the month of June, a paying tier with a postcard and sticker tier that you can get. It'll be a whole thing. So keep posted by checking my Patreon. you will see it's quite fun. I'll be announcing it very shortly, tomorrow or the day after, I hope. Love you, see you in right about now. So as you can see, I have prepared some stuff for my portraits, and as you can also see, I draw from pictures. I have been known to draw from life in the past, but right about now it's more practical to just snap a picture and then I can go back on the picture. I like making silly faces on my picture. It's kind of like people who draw from pictures and they will tell you to turn the picture upside down. It's a way for me to see my face differently and to kind of trick my brain, go about a different path. If I draw from the same angle every time, I will usually end up doing the same thing every day. And one of the goals of these self-portraits is to learn how to see, to look and see every day, to practice the practice of looking and seeing. So if I do the same thing every day, like the same way, I will take the same paths in a way that means I am not looking anymore. So I have to keep that in mind. Funnily enough, I usually recognize myself more when I put on a silly face. I think because my attention is less focused on my portrait looking beautiful and more focused on my portrait looking lively and fun. So yeah, I think that's a fun thing to think of. I have a dedicated sketchbook, which means that I have a sketchbook that I only do self-portraits in. This just helps me see my progress day after day, and it's just super satisfying to build a kind of collection of memories. I really like it. This way also I don't get hung up on what the portrait looks like at the end of the day. If it's a bad one, I just know that there will always be the next one and I can skip the page and try to not look at it too much. I don't get hung up on medium as well. I will go through phases. Sometimes I need to explore one medium for a long time, and sometimes I need to switch them up every day. And as I have changed my sketchbook recently, I had a tiny moment where I needed to find what the right medium was for me in this sketchbook, and as it turns out, it's been pastels. I love how pastels feel on this paper. Other mediums that I usually love feel icky on this paper because it's really freaking smooth and like even kind of icy, is that a word? It's very, very smooth and it's not my usual texture of paper, and the way that creamy pastels feel on this paper is just amazing. It feels like I'm drawing with butter. I love it. So I have started drawing my self-portrait. I usually start by drawing an outline, and the color of this outline depends on how I'm feeling and what I want to convey. Do I want the outline to be seen? Do I want it to be invisible? Do I want it to contrast or blend in with the portrait? Or maybe I want it to be an accent color. I know when I have like hot pinks on hand, I like to have a hot pink outline. I think it looks nice, but I don't have a hot pink pastel. And then, only then when I'm done, I will fill in the color of my skin. I try to use colors that are somewhat close to my own skin color, but maybe one day that will change and I will feel brave enough to venture in a totally different direction. As you know, what matters most is hue, so I know that I could use about any color as long as it is pale enough, because I'm really pale. I usually follow with pink accents on the cheeks and the nose, and then I add the darkest darks, my hair and my eyes. I then go on to the medium hues, which are my glasses, my shadows, and I don't know, I try to have fun with the colors of the shadows. This is where I try to use different colors than the ones that are closer to what is really on the picture. I think that is how I can recognize my style even when I use different mediums, but I might be mistaken. I don't know. I also try to be very loose with how I put my pen on the paper, and I think that's another way you can recognize my style. It's very, very loose. And then at the end of my self-portrait, I would put the date, and that will be all. You will be able to see what I'm doing in real time because I don't want to skip it. You can draw along with me, and I'll write what I'm doing as well. This way you can follow along. And now I will tell you why I love drawing self-portraits and how I manage to do them every day. I think it's easy enough now that I know that if I mess it up, it's only between me, myself, and I. It's my own face. So if I do an ugly self-portrait, the stakes aren't that high. Also, I like to keep my practice flexible, which means that if I have less time, I will pick a medium that is less time-consuming, or just be quicker with it. I will change up the angle so that I can avoid having to draw too many details. I'm trying to be very smart about it, and I think, in my own humble opinion, that the best way to build a daily habit is to be super flexible with how you want to do it, especially because I do have a day job. So I have many days where I have to be off. I have to get out of my apartment for 10 hours a day. So I can't be doing my self-portraits when I'm at work. So it takes me anywhere from 1 minute up to an hour to draw my self-portraits. And today my self-portrait took me 28 minutes. I try to do it every day at the same time, but today, for the sake of this video, I did it very much later. But usually I do it right after I wake up. I will get up, go to the bathroom, and then go on and write my morning pages. And then right after my morning pages is the moment that I draw my self-portraits. I now have a collection of over 300 self-portraits, and that is really, really cool. I would now like to be cheesy for a moment and tell you what drawing my face every day has taught me. It has taught me not to get hung up on a bad day. There is always the next self-portrait the next day, and it goes both ways. When I do a good self-portrait, I know that I can have a bad one tomorrow, and that helps me know that my worth is not linked to what I produce. I know that my worth is linked to just being me, and I try to have fun doing it. I always have something to learn, but the ultimate tool of the artist, in my opinion, is their eyes, not their hand, which means that it's more important for me to learn how to look and see. It doesn't matter if my hands don't follow and don't do a good self-portrait. What matters is how I've been looking at the practice. Also, I do think now, and it's a little bit spiritual, but I do think now that what is kind of holy is the practice in itself, and that's all that matters. I am an artist, and an artist is someone who creates. I want to put the focus on the act of doing and not the result that comes out of what I've done. And that has taught me not to seek perfection, and all of it just means a little bit less if I'm not in love with the practice. I just want to love, just like when I was a kid, I want to love playing, I want to love experimenting, I want to love looking. And that takes me to the next point, which is that I can find beauty in everything if I learn to see it. In my neck fat, in my nostrils, in, my weird shaped yawn face, transforming the way that I look into a curiosity oriented look rather than a judgment look. It'll just come the more that I expose myself to it. And that is the point that I think that I heard in a podcast or something on body image, and that is that the cure for shame and hating oneself is just to expose ourselves to images of us and to look at them, to remind our brain that this is how we look, this is what we look like, this is what we look like from this and this and this angle. And looking at yourself always in the same angle, on the same pictures where you do the same face over and over again, it just tricks your brain into thinking that you're supposed to look like a flat, weird version of yourself, when in fact you are 3D. And knowing yourself and your angles is the best way to stop hating yourself. And I know it sounds counterintuitive, but it does work. It is true. It just works. And when you don't look at yourself, if you do see yourself from a weird angle, your brain will be like, oh my god, is that what I look like? And if you confront yourself to the way that you look from every possible angle, your brain will just know that this is normal, this is you, this is normal, and this is beautiful. Also, the last thing that I have learned from this practice is that the only constant in life is change. And I know that I'm not the first person to say that, but it is true. Every day my mood changes, my skills change, my technique, my face, everything, the light, everything changes, and that is beautiful. You can keep following along and draw with me if you like. I hope you give it a try. I hope you give it a try to draw yourself pulling on a silly face and just take out some pastels and start drawing. I think you won't regret it, even if you take just 1 minute to do it. I love you so much. Thank you for watching. See you in the next one. Ta-ta.
vas t'occuper de la pizza du coup? Alors, ça te fait quoi d'avoir un neveu?